Something big is about to happen in South America, and Brazil is at the center of it. Most people know Brazil for football, samba dancing, or the Amazon rainforest. But behind these beaches and cities, Brazil is silently taking some major steps. It's building roads and railway tracks, signing secret agreements, and massively strengthening its military. But why is Brazil suddenly doing all of this? Is it planning to take over all of South America? And if Brazil succeeds in this plan, what changes will it bring to the entire world? In today's video, we'll discuss Brazil's master plan to become the most powerful country in South America. Whether it is gaining control over trade routes, securing energy deals, increasing military power, or influencing neighboring countries, we'll explore how Brazil is planning to rise as the leader of the entire South American continent. Before we begin, a quick request. Please subscribe to Behind Walls, so that you never miss updates on such geography and geopolitics related videos. Before we discuss Brazil's incredible plan, we first need to understand what kind of country Brazil is. Brazil is not an ordinary nation, it's a giant. With an area of around 8.5 million square kilometers, Brazil covers more than half of South America. In terms of area, it's the fifth largest country in the world, and with a population of around 210 million, it's the most populated country in South America. Economically, Brazil is a powerhouse. In 2024, its economy was valued at $2.1 trillion, the largest in all of Latin America. Brazil exports soybeans, beef, iron ore, and even ships and oil. Its major trading partners include China, the USA, and the European Union. And now, Brazil is being seen as the economic leader of South America. Now let's talk about Brazil's geography, which is actually its real strength. Brazil has a 7,400-kilometer-long coastline along the Atlantic Ocean, featuring major ports like Santos and Rio de Janeiro. Through these ports, millions of tons of goods are shipped globally. These very ports are Brazil's connection to the world, and they are also the key to its grip over South America as trade routes and exports. Brazil is the world's largest exporter of soybeans and among the top exporters of beef and iron ore, and all of it flows through these sea routes. But Brazil's true treasure lies inland, the Amazon rainforest. Brazil controls 60% of the Amazon, which is one of the largest and most valuable forests in the world. It's called the lungs of the earth because it holds fresh water, rare resources, unique trees, and thousands of plant and animal species. This forest gives Brazil a powerful voice in global climate talks, as the Amazon is important for the entire planet. Then there's Brazil's river system. Another natural advantage. Brazil's interior is connected by massive rivers, the most important being the Amazon River, which is the largest in the world by water volume. These rivers serve as natural highways, allowing goods to travel more easily than by road or rail. Zoom out a bit, and you'll see that Brazil is surrounded by opportunity. It shares borders with 10 out of 12 South American countries, the most of any nation on the continent. This means Brazil is geographically connected to almost the entire continent, a very powerful advantage. With so many neighbors, Brazil can trade, share energy resources, and build partnerships. People, products, and ideas can move easily across its borders, making Brazil the center of activity in South America. But for many years, Brazil didn't take advantage of its size, location, and power. It focused on solving internal problems, stayed away from conflicts, and remained relatively inactive internationally. This all began to change in 2019. That is when Brazil shifted its focus and realized that it already had everything needed to lead South America. Strong geography, a growing economy, and good relations with neighbors. Now, all it needed to do was use them wisely. Instead of using tanks or threats, Brazil started building roads and bridges and signed trade deals. Not only did it connect its own cities, it also began linking other countries together. These projects weren't just about transportation, they were a display of power. And that's where Brazil's master plan begins. A plan to create an empire that brings all of South America under its influence. Brazil understands one thing very clearly. Until the continent is fully connected, it can't be led. That's why Brazil is spending huge amounts of money, materials, and manpower to change South America's entire map. The most important part of this vision is the oceanic corridor, a project that began in 2015. It is not just a road network. This is a network of highways and railways that stretches from Brazil's Atlantic coast all the way to Peru's Pacific ports. It means that the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans will be connected by land, because it gives Brazil a new kind of leverage. Now, it can control billions of dollars worth of trade between Asia and South America. Previously, this trade depended on Panama canals, but now it can pass through Brazil. And it's not just about Brazil. Paraguay, Bolivia, and Argentina already rely on Brazil to get their goods to market. And as this dependence grows, so will Brazil's leverage. The logic is simple. If you control the roads, you control the routes. If you control the routes, you control the flow of money, goods, and influence. And Brazil is not just building roads, it's building authority, 1 kilometer at a time. But roads alone aren't enough for Brazil to become South America's leader. It needs something else, and that's money. While Brazil was building ports and roads, it was quietly doing something else too, buying loyalty with money. Many of Brazil's neighbors like Argentina, Paraguay, Venezuela, and Uruguay have been facing economic crises in recent years. Some are dealing with inflation, others are drowning in debt, or struggling with political instability. But for Brazil, these crises were opportunities. Since 2018, Brazil has quietly been giving these countries loans, investment deals, and financial aid on easy terms, and has already given them billions of dollars. But this help doesn't come for free, because when a country becomes financially dependent on you, it also becomes politically aligned. Take Argentina, for example. In 2022 alone, Brazil gave Argentina billions in financial support. And not only did it help Argentina's economy, but also strengthened relations between the two countries. Argentina began aligning its policies with Brazil's interests. Similarly, Brazil has made deals with Paraguay and Bolivia, investing in their energy, agriculture, and infrastructure sectors. For these countries, Brazil is no longer just a neighbor, it's a lifeline. This isn't charity, this is calculated diplomacy. The more these countries depend on Brazil financially, the more control Brazil has over them. Brazil is also trying to become the voice of the entire region. It leads MERCOSUR trade bloc that includes Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay. Brazil sets the agenda, handles negotiations, and signs trade deals with major powers like the EU and China. And that's not all. At global summits like COP27 and G20, Brazil often speaks on behalf of all South America, especially on issues like climate change, trade, and development. With the Amazon rainforest a booming economy and strategic partnerships, Brazil is gaining serious influence on the global stage. It's a brilliant strategy. Give neighbors money, speak for them on global platforms, and gradually become their leader. Brazil is not forcing anyone to follow it. It is just making itself too important to ignore. And when you combine economic power, diplomatic leadership, and a connected network, you don't just make allies. You control an entire continent. But influence, money, and diplomacy all have their limits. Brazil knows that to maintain this empire, it also needs to defend it. And that's why we now come to Brazil's next big move, military power. In 2022, Brazil's military spending crossed billions, making it the highest defense spender in South America. It bought 36 advanced Gripen fighter jets from Sweden. It's also upgrading its navy and improving drone technology with France, so it can monitor illegal activities in the Amazon. But here's the interesting part. Brazil doesn't have any real enemies, so why spend so much on the military? The answer: influence. When Brazil has the strongest army in South America, it won't need to threaten anyone. Everyone will know the consequences of going against Brazil. Through these tanks and jets, Brazil is making its presence felt, and has become a peacekeeper that other countries rely on. But Brazil's goal isn't just to control South America. It's something even bigger. Everything Brazil has done, roads, railways, diplomacy, military buildup, is all part of a much larger plan. If Brazil becomes the dominant power in South America, it won't just lead this continent. It will start competing with the world as superpowers. America, China, and Europe will have to start taking Brazil seriously. Not just in trade, because now Brazil will have power, and that power comes from South America's resources, which Brazil will control. Resources like lithium for electric vehicles, oil and gas agricultural goods, like soy, corn, and beef, iron, or used in construction, and fresh water, which the world desperately needs. Imagine if Brazil became the guardian of all these. It already controls 60% of the Amazon, which is called the tipping point of the world. This forest gives Brazil a strong upper hand in climate negotiations, and when Brazil speaks, the world listens. because what happens in the Amazon
Brazil
becomes the bridge between South America and the rest of the world. It will control not just trade and deals, but also form new partnerships with countries like India and China, which are already showing great interests. Brazil is an important part of the BRICS group, which is working to challenge the Western-dominated world order and promote trade in currencies other than the dollar. Naturally, many countries, especially America and Europe, won't be too happy with Brazil's rise and may see it as a threat. So, in a nutshell, if Brazil becomes the most powerful country in South America, it won't just change this continent. It will bring massive changes to the entire world. From trade to climate deals, everything will shift. The most interesting part is that Brazil has done all of this quietly. No branding, no big talk, no picking fights, just silently working hard behind the scenes. And that is why the country once known only for football and the Amazon is now emerging as a true regional power. Behind Brazil's success lies one simple secret: keep your head down, stay focused, and let your work speak. There's a lot to learn from Brazil's transformation, and hopefully, such videos on international geopolitics can help the people of our region learn and grow too. See you in the next video. Take care.